So, yeah. Um, Anything else to say about the Blackening? I think it'd be probably a good time to do the Flash.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, let's get into the Flash. I hope everyone enjoys Blackening. Highly recommend watch Blackening. Great horror comedy. Highly recommend that. So, okay, the Flash. So okay, how so the Flash is the 13th installment of the DCEU. Um, I don't know for you, I was a little concerned about the word of mouth, because it was kicking in. It didn't have I mean, it had a pretty good, decent Rotten Tomato score. I think, yeah, I think last time I checked, it was here like a 66 right now currently for Rotten Tomatoes. And yeah, but the score for the audience is a little bit low, I think. So here we go. Let me check this. So like 85%. So it is actually very good for the audience. But still, I am very shocked about this film. Underperforming. Right now, Monday, we got some of the box office reports. It opened 55 million opening. Okay, it could be nice if like it was a very small movie and had like a 100 million budget, but with a price tag of 200 or 20, if the studio are saying that, but it sounds like currently it's been kind of quickly in the reports that there is almost more money than Justice League, the Justice League film from 2017. So it could even be 400 million or 300 million.
Justice.
Yes, Justice League. So I'm very shocked that we got another dud in the film, like another dud DC film, two in a row, like or like four in a row. If you think about it, like or five, right? Like from Birds of Prey, Suicide Squad, well, Birds of Prey, WW 84, Wonder Woman 1984,
Yeah,
Suicide
honestly,
Squad.
I totally forgot that. Forgot about that film.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Because like it had nothing to do with the first one, and it just wasn't connecting with audiences. The Suicide Squad was actually good. I thought DC got it right with that film in particular, and I thought The Flash was good as well. I mean, as I told you, I did have my few gripes with it, but overall, I thought it was a good film.
Yeah, yeah. I liked it. I was surprised. I was like, like especially surprised. I was especially surprised by the film. But again, I just think that there was just a lot of things that was going against the film. But we'll get into that. What was your overall opinion on the Flash? Like, give me your overall opinion on the Flash when you saw it.
Well, as I said, the film was definitely entertaining to watch, and I loved how it showed the growth and maturity of Barry Allen, because he went from just a goofy comedic relief character to really finding himself and making the ultimate decision to let his mother go, and to grow as a hero and grow as a person, and he learned how to be responsible, because like Barry Allen, the beginning of the film, you saw his habit of irresponsibility when he was constantly arriving late to work and not managing his time well. um my few gripes with it is that they didn't have any of like the crucial aspects of the Flashpoint comic, and I knew it was going to loosely adapt the
Mm-hmm.
Flashpoint comic series, but I wish they would have had Eobard Thawne in there, and he's not even referenced, he's not even mentioned. And I noticed that they didn't have any instances where Barry's memories kept changing, because in the comic version, you see that Barry's memories kept changing at when he after he had traveled through time traveled through time, and that was a crucial part. That was one of the crucial parts of Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And no, of course, no war between Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and in the comic, Wonder Woman, she kills uh Shazam, and the war with Wonder Woman and Aquaman, that played a very crucial role in, like, the world's collapsing, and Eobard Barthon, explaining to him that you created this catastrophe, when you went back in time to try to save your mom. Like, you created this Flashpoint timeline yourself. So I just wish they had, crucial aspects of the Flashpoint comic series into the film.
That's intriguing. Yeah, if you haven't seen, or if you haven't read the comic book or the animation film, you haven't seen the Flashpoint Paradox. It's like the animation film is highly recommended. It's a great direct adaptation to it. But yeah, thank you, Chris, for your opinion. I really like it. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I thought the film was very entertaining. It was a little shaky in the beginning with with the breakfast brunch thing, and then the babies, which a lot of people are complaining about. I mean, I totally get that. It was very goofy, and just yeah. So I think this movie is a very decent Flash film that has a really poor conceit of the multiverse they're trying to do, and it is just not satisfying, and it doesn't leave you a clear image of what's going to happen with the DC universe we're going to get. Like, I, when we get into the ending, I mean, the ending is so confusing. If, like it's just such a joke. Like, they did the thing that I don't like about the Ant-Man 3 film that happened this year. They end the film on a joke, and it's like so annoying. Like, I don't know which one's worse, the eating the cake thing in Quantumania, or the tooth falling thing was just not funny. Like, I don't know, it was so bad. So I was really digging the Barry Allen storyline, like the more Flash storyline, and I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about the themes of concentrations and letting go. I thought that was the strongest aspect of the film. Dealing with the mom and Barry trying to fix everything was really compelling in the film, and I just wish we spent more time with that. Where the time that we spent was just on this very like half baked multiverse thing. Like, imagine if in Spider-Man No Way Home we did not have like Toby or Andrew in the film. Like, it could have been like such a dissatisfying thing for No Way Home, or like in Doctor Strange 2, if we didn't get the John Krasinski cameo. Like, okay, what's the Illuminati? Like the reason that we talked about the Illuminati thing is because of, well, Professor X, but Black Bolt and like Mr. Fantastic, like that was like a big deal, and then just the way they get killed off is like very divided, but like it's still like a very talked about scene, right? Here in this movie, like, okay, we got a few of the original Justice League for a moment, but just for Wonder Woman and Batman, that's it. An after, and then you got the Michael Keaton Batman, right? And then you got the Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, and then towards the end, it's like, with the multiverse thing with George Reeves and Nicolas Cage and Anna West, it's like, okay, and it's okay, cool, interesting. And then the George Clooney thing was just, I mean, I was shocked that we got George Clooney, but that's very confusing, and I don't know what they're doing. So, like, yeah, the first two acts are very strong, but when we get to the third act with the tiny whammy time travel multiverse thing, it just gets really bogged down and it's messy. It's the third act is so messy, and I think that's one of the downfalls of this movie. It's just it came too late in the party of the multiverse trend that we're having, and like it just doesn't deliver on its multiverse concept really. I don't have a problem with it being a loosely adapted version of Flashpoint. Like, I think that what we got here was actually really good. It's just they didn't spend time on any of this. We didn't spend so much time on Supergirl. We didn't spend so much time on like the Dark Flash at all. You know, like we spent time with Barry too, but like first off, like the Funko Pops, the leaks already leaked the villain, so we knew the villain was Dark Flash. So it was funny that they were keeping it like a secret in the film. It's like kind of out of that's fair, right? And Keaton, I like Keaton here, but like he, I think his character is consistent from when we left him off, but I think there should have been more for him to do, and like in a very scientific way to take him in a direction, maybe. But I don't know. Excuse me. Overall, I was very underwhelmed. It's not a bad film, but I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 when I did the Flash podcast over the MCU Bleeding Edge. So I'm
MCU Bleeding Edge.
yes. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, if you guys want to check that out, I have it in the Andreas Pop Culture guest spot. That's where you can see all my guest spots in the MCU Bleeding Edge, and also the DC and Marvel Plus talk as well. There I put MCU Bleeding Edge guest spot if you check the playlist. But yeah, so I brought that up. I was kind of like the one person that was like a little down on the film. I don't know. I just personally think the film was just too late. I felt like it was DOE or DOA when it arrived in the theaters. So I don't know what Warner was just doing. I mean, Warner Brothers made a huge mistake in the film, completely since day one. And I don't know. So I don't know. But yeah. So Chris, take us everywhere you want. What like I guess I guess we can get into the multiverse thing, like the cameos of Christopher Lee, Anna West, what else? George Reeves. Well, and then also the Flash that was in the George J. Derrick that was played by Teddy Spears, who was the Zoom actor for the Flash TV show. So it was weird that you have him cameo, and so it was just weird that you did that, but you didn't do Frank Goss's character of the Flash from the CW TV show. So, what do you thought about those cameos that like don't stand the film?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were interesting, but to be honest, I really didn't, focus and really pay attention to the cameos because I think I was just yeah, like I said, I was just I was just I don't know so bothered by the fact that uh Dark Flash had like little to do with it with this film.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to have a much bigger role as like a villain, but he was barely on screen. He really didn't have a lot of dialogue. I was expecting to be, in a long-lasting fight with, the Flash and Dark Flash, but the fight was so short, was very short, and I was like, are you kidding me? You didn't show this guy in the trailers you
Yeah.
marketed it as if like he was gonna have like a big role in this film, and he was being teased. He was being teased a lot. And I was like, and you barely have him on screen. I was like, are you kidding me? So like the cameos, I wasn't paying attention to that. I was just excited about this film and just seeing this adaptation of Flashpoint. But I just wish more crucial aspects of that story was in the movie.
Well, I mean, if Warner Bros. Stuck with the Snyderverse, I mean, if they did more with Aquaman and Wonder Woman in the film, like they could have gone far far with it. But I will agree with you on that. I think that was also the issue. The fact they were using Flashpoint, it like they took some of the elements that people know about the Flashpoint, but they didn't took some of the story points that were crucial in the plot point. Like a lot of the war between the Lanterns and the Amazons, is a big factor in the storyline, right? And that was the thing for the first Flash, that the worlds were collapsing, right? And the multiverse was dying, right? I I think you could have done that in this film with Dark Flash, but I think one of the issues, like this is actually a good point here. This is one of the big issues with the DC extended universe and their solo films. They cram in so much stuff that because previously we didn't get a proper solo film before they were in a team with Wolverine, or before we knew them as individuals. Like case in point, Aquaman. We didn't know Aquaman at all until his first solo film, and that film was packed with multiple storylines because apparently James Wan didn't know if we're gonna make a sequel, so they crammed in so many storylines. They got the MacGuffin of the Triton thing. They got the war between the humans and then the Lanterns like building up. And then Arthur becoming the king, all that. You can hear. You got Barry doing the time travel thing. You get a origin story of the Flash, right? With Barry too, and then you're dealing with also a alternate timeline. That this fact goal that needs to be fixed, right? You got so many of these other platforms that you don't need, and instead they did it, and that's one of the things. Like I like Ezra Miller as an actor, and I do not condone his actions at all, and I can separate his horrible actions over his performance, but still, I don't have this connection with this character at all since Batman v Superman, really, when he got that introduced. It was just a poor conceit for the DC universe to not introduce your characters first in the solo film before they did the team up. That's a huge mistake. And I think again, I mentioned previously with you that you could done that well. Like Civil War did this well. Like we got introduced with Spider-Man and Black Panther, and they were well received, and they were so great in that film. Before we got into their solo films, they didn't do the origin story. They jumped into the storylines that they have for those films, and they were great, right? Here it's like you got so many story beats you have to do. Like you're doing the multiverse, and then you're doing this simul origin story for this Barry we don't know, like this alternate Barry to have his powers. Like I don't know. I just the story was just very convoluted for no good reason. I think they couldn't easily streamline the storyline that they have here in this film. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I agree. But one cameo that I will say that I liked was the Aquaman cameo, because it showed us okay, Aquaman still exists in this DC universe, and I think all the rumors about him being recasted and playing another role will be put to rest, and that he's still Aquaman. So
Yeah.
I liked that he made an appearance in this film. There was a lot of uncertainty about Jason Momoa's future as Aquaman.
Yeah, but that's still up the air because we don't know if his movie is going to perform well. That's the thing. We don't know if he's going to be still Aquaman after his second solo film.
Yeah,
So,
I know that there were reports that the film didn't do well in early screenings, but we're still a few months away till December. And remember, the first one did very well in the box office, so
yeah.
I understand the concern with the second film, but I still want us to pump the brakes. It's still June. We have a few more months, so let's give this second film a chance, because the first film did well.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. If you're having so many multi-films that are underperforming, yeah, you should be concerned. This is a big. I'm thinking more of like business way for Warner Brothers. I mean, for me, I'm more like I ain't having that wait and see if they do well. But for Warner Brothers, like like this is more concern for Blue Beetle and Aquaman too coming up. Like are they going to commit to spending too much money on marketing to do these films that probably are DOA and rival, or like they're gonna last minute put them in the max a streaming service, like they spend so much money and just PR thing to this hype this film, which is ridiculous. Like they got Tom Cruise and Stephen King to sponsor this film and accolade this film that is the greatest superhero film. Like, okay, but I don't know. It's just crazy. I can see. I agree with you, Chris, about waiting, seeing, but I don't know. I just don't have that feeling that Aquaman. It's been so many years since the first film. It came out 2018. That's 5 years. I mean, like, it's not Spider Verse. Like, Spider Verse was a word of mouth film. Like it was an underdog. Like it got great word of mouth over the Christmas season. It won the Oscar, and then so it became popular. And then of course, Sony doesn't have a streaming service. The Spider Verse was Into the Spider Verse was in Netflix for so many years now, 5 years, and it built the audience. And guess what? The sequel made money. 2 weeks in June, last two weeks, and you look at this, like there's no way I see Aquaman will do well after 5 years. I mean, because no one really people forget that it crossed the $1 billion mark. I mean, but I don't know. And then the question is, what's going to happen with Blue Beetle? Like, is this going to like do well now after this movie? Like, what's going to happen? Like, where are you at with the next two films, Chris, with Blue Beetle, especially because you got your opinion on Aquaman?
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And I know this will be Blue Beetle's first live action movie. So I mean I didn't know who the character I didn't know about the character until I started playing Injustice 2. But
Mm-hmm.
hopefully this film will do well and it'll do good in the box office. And this is a new character, so a new fresh character to DCU. So there's a risk that many people may not go to see it because they're not really familiar with this character. But he's still like a fresh face with this DC universe. So we still have to be willing to give this film a chance and not just throw in the towel with this film.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. I don't trust Warner Brothers. They would probably throw the towel, not us. So, because let's face it, Warner Brothers have thrown their towels so many times. So, I guess let's say a positive about this film before we get into negatives. What was the one thing you liked about this film that they did? What was the thing you liked about this film? What they did? Okay.
I liked Barry's maturity and his transition from being a goofy comedic character into
Okay.
being a mature, responsible, selfless person and selfless, person. Um, he definitely grew as a hero and learned what it means to be a superhero.
Yes, that's true. I do. I definitely agree with that. But I want to also bring up the performance of the two berries. Like, very impressive. The double act of having two berries in the film really helped the film. I think you did a good job of having the one berry that was, the berry we follow being very goofy, but he became more the mature seasonal superhero to follow when you have the more alternate Barry that was like inexperienced and like he was very much happy go lucky. And I like the juxtaposition of those two characters, and they really brought up that was the best aspect about the film was having the two Barrys. I was kind of concerned about that, but then I think much of the film it was the best thing about this film, really. So what do you think about the two berries? Do you like that too?
Yeah, I thought, of course, like the present Barry was being kind of like a jerk to
Yeah,
past Barry, and I get it. The past Barry was, childish, and it was being a little childish and annoying, and he was funny, honestly. He
yeah,
was funny, so I can understand why present Barry would be annoyed, but I just
yeah,
like, the nature of their, relationship and how it grew throughout the film.
yeah. I agree. It did have my funny part where he totally understands why people think he's obnoxious when you say that in the back cave. That was very funny. So, another big positive was Michael Keaton as Batman. Let's kind of get into that. I thought Michael Keaton was great as Batman. He really got back to the role. I think the kitchen scene where he was attacking the two berries was really fun. His explanation of the multiverse with the pasta was really great. I thought that was really awesome. I think everything what they did with Michael Keaton here was really great. I wish we did more of him in the third act. Like, I wish we had some direction about his character after this film, but of course they don't have plans for him. So I what we got here was really great. I think he was the highlight of this film, which I like. So I think they did everything right with Michael Keaton as Batman. What do you thought about Michael Keaton as Batman?
Oh, I loved it. Like his suit looked so very authentic. And of course,
Yeah,
I was disappointed that Ben Affleck wasn't in the film that long. He only got about 5 minutes. I think having him in the film longer would have had a more proper send off.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Keaton's performance was just amazing, and it was kind of nice. It was kind of interesting seeing him with long hair and a beard, because I never pictured Michael Keaton in that style.
no, no, it was very funny. And I think I mean, it was going to be it's a tired fool, but I think it worked. And this time around with Michael Keaton because he just sold it. Like it really felt like he was like a hermit living in a cell in a cave right now. But yeah. What else? I also like this. I I wish we got more of this, but I did appreciate more of the very like flash themes that we got. Like I wish we got more Irish in this film. Like I thought the actors that play Irish was really great, and wish we'd spend more time with that. We I wish we got more to do with the dad and mom. Especially I thought the parents of Barry were really great actors, and I thought that they really brought everything to this film, which is great. Uh, and then just Wi-Fi, the Francis friends that Barry hands out, are actually comic characters. So like Patty is a comic character. She's a new character from the DC New 52. She was the new love interest for Barry in New 52, and she was a love interest briefly in season 2 of the CW Flash. And the other guy is actually a villain of the Flash in the Rogues Gallery. He is Dr. Acme. And that character also popped up in the third season of The Flash, played by Tom Feldman in that season as the Dr. Acme. So, but yeah, so what do you thought about, the major other characters, the Flash, like recurring characters that we know from the parents and then the briefly, Irish and the other supporting characters. What do you thought about them?
What I thought is that they should not have left um, Nora Allen's murder as a mystery and left it at, some random intruder broke into their house, and we don't get an even identity of a killer, and of course we don't see that scene where the intruder breaks in the house and stabs Nora Allen.
Yeah,
And that was a crucial component to why he became the Flash, and the killer, who was Eobard Thawne, which the director recently confirmed. Why not have him in the film? Why not have him as an antagonist? Because like in this film, it didn't really to me, there really wasn't an antagonist. I mean, yeah, you had General Zod, but it wasn't like you defeated him or anything. It was just like, okay, no matter how much we try to change things, things are going to remain the same. So with
Yeah,
General Zod terraforming Earth and killing Supergirl, that event was going to remain the same no matter how much you try to alter events. And it was basically Baron Allen has to make the sacrifice and let his mom go to prevent any chaos with different with the existence of different worlds and different universes.
yeah.
You don't have that. You don't have that real antagonist there. I mean, like I said, Dark Flash, like it was barely in the movie, barely had any dialogue, and
Mm.
I was hoping that he would at least explain, go into more detail about what Barry Allen did when he went back in time, but
Yeah,
barely he said anything.
yeah. Very true. I don't know what you could have done, but I mean, I could see like they could have done was have like an alternate Barry that killed the mom accidentally. Like he couldn't actually like the Dark Flash couldn't replace the First Flash being the murderer of that. But then I I don't know if they were like if they were hoping if the film was successful they can actually address the mom death in the First Flash theme in the sequel. You know, which is not gonna happen with the opening that this film has done. So yeah, it's very disappointing. Like they didn't address that. That was the weird part when I saw that. I had that same issue, like the fact that they left it very ambiguously who killed her. I thought, okay, it makes sense. Maybe they want to do that more in the sequel, right? Have to reverse Flash as the villain, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But like, I don't think we'll get another Flash movie in another 10 years, really, because of the DC reboot. So, but they could have done that with Dark Flash. I think one of my big problems is like I think everything like the whole multiverse time travel is so wonky. Like I don't know, like just not like makes sense if you think about it. But anyway, um, yeah. So yeah, the Nora thing, not knowing who, like. By the way, I don't know why Andy Muschietti really is throwing down shade at the film. Like he just knows this film's like was DOA, YOA. So this the fact that he spoiled the Nicolas Cage cameo like a few weeks before this film was open, and like him defending the special effects, which we need to get to the effects. I mean I don't know the effects are so inconsistent. Some is good, some is bad. We'll get into that, but yeah. I don't know. I thought Andy Muschietti was a good choice at first. I thought, the It chapter films were pretty good. I mean, I like the first chapter. I don't like the second chapter really. Um, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so let's actually get into what was the one I was wanted to talk about the effects. What's your opinion on the effects? I mean, it's very inconsistent. I I think
Yeah, yeah, the VFX effects, basically like they were, as the director said, they were done on purpose, but I didn't really see the point. I didn't really see the point of that at all. Like that I don't understand. When I saw but some of the effects, it just made me cringe. I'm like, dude, what is this? Like who thought that this was a good idea? There's no
yeah.
way just a director was this the director's intention from the beginning to have the VFX effects the way it was? Was it the studio? Like who said, you know what, this is a perfect idea? Like what were they thinking?
I don't know. It felt like they were spending the money on the marketing, but not on the effects. So like I feel like I think Hollywood is having a problem with the effects, and like some films are look great in the effects, like Avatar 2, The Way of Water looks great. I mean, still like that's really awesome. It's so vastly. like vastly superior, better over the first Avatar in terms of effects and just believability. And this just takes it way too cartoony. I mean, like I when you get to the dorm, I actually appreciate the space force they created with the dorm, the bubble they do, and you see the almost like Scarecrow kind of visions of the time travel with the faces of the characters we see in the film. Like I don't mind that, but when you throw in so much of like the electricity, like the light of the flash, blue, yellow, and then purple, and like the thunders and like all that, like it just gets so fake. It gets to the point where I'm like very like tuned out from those like very like electricity kind of scenes of the Speed Force from the main speedsters, right? Um, Even the Battle of General Zod looks very fake. I did not like that they took it like it was like open wide, like no like physical like cities like sort of went in steel during the third act with General Zod and like how General Zod versus Zod Superman versus Zod in the Metropolis was like really good and it looks great. Where here, just like the ending with the Kryptonian battle army is like very fake and CGI is really that there. So I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking about the CGI. I don't know why the director is spending the effects here. Like like he's saying that's intentional. Like that was the point of doing the effects, but then that's not good, and that's why a lot of people are turned off by this film. You know. So
Yeah, I didn't see what that was gonna do for the story. Like I don't know how they thought it would be a good idea and fans would be pleased with that. And that's one of the things that people are pointing out. It's like, what the heck is this with the VFX?
yeah, I know. It's very awful. Um, okay, so like what are the facts? What was the other problems we had in the film that we need to bring up? Like I there's a lot. Let's just bring on the third act with like I is it messy for you? Like
I mean, I liked Supergirl. I thought Sasha Calle did a
oh
good job
yes,
with the character, but I do agree with you. She had a little to do.
little
I was hoping for more fight and action sequences with her and General Zod. And I feel
yeah.
like it wasn't long enough. It should have been more longer.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I'll see and there are more, definitely more rated R scenes Sasha Calle said about with her fight scenes, but they were cut from the film, but you know, I didn't expect her to get a lot of screen time, but it would have been nice to see. It would have been nice to see more action sequences with her.
Yeah, I agree. Um, like Sasha Calle did a really good job as Supergirl. I think they did a good job of depicting the character as Supergirl. It's spot on from the comics and the media we've seen. But yeah, I wish we got more to it. I was very surprised that when we get into like the third, like the almost like halfway through the film, like when we got to the Russian, I was like, oh wow, we're like gonna introduce Supergirl here, and it's like it seemed like there was like heavy issues around her character, particularly. So I think there was more the character had because the way she comes back to Batcave and take Barry to the skies to the lightning is very like edited chop. Like it seemed like there was more scenes for her than what we got in the film. So like yeah, it's just very like very annoying that they didn't give her much to do because and I can be frank, like I this is why I'm saying I like her the most. I feel like there was nothing spectacularly wow for this character. So I felt like she wasn't the MVP of this film. Like for me, it was definitely Michael Keaton stole that really. I don't know. I think there should be more for her to do. Um, Okay, so what else? I guess let me get into Easter eggs. I guess. Do you want to get some Easter eggs, Chris? If you want to listen. So like we got the Wonder Woman cameo, which I was kind of surprised. Like that was a big surprise. The Wonder Woman cameo. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I knew she was gonna be. I knew she was gonna be in the movie, and
Oh
of
really?
course, it was good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it was gonna. Yeah, because I had been following up on articles about like her appearance in the film, and I'm just wondering, okay, where was Wonder Woman, all this time when like the multiverse was happening, and what is to say about her future? Is she going to continue to be Wonder Woman? Is this going to be the last time we see? I mean, I know she's expect. I think she's going to be in Aquaman because I think one of the actors from Shazam spoiled it.
Hmm.
But it's still there's still questions about her future. And Gadot recently said, I feel empowered to do other uh, projects. And before that, she said, you'll see more of me soon as Wonder Woman. But Wonder Woman 3 was
Cancel.
scrapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we still don't know like what the future holds. As far as her playing this character.
For me, it's this is the final time to see her. I like. I don't know why people are just. Well, like I like her as Wonder Woman. I really like her version. Love the first film. It's still like the first one is my number one in terms of the DCEU ranking, if you want to call that. Um, I just don't like we're rebooting everything, so I don't think we're going to continue with her. Really, like same thing with Affleck and Cavill. Like we're not going to continue with them, so it just doesn't make sense uh with with the Gadot returning, right? So this could be the final one, maybe. But if you because the fact that you brought up the Aquaman thing, if she's gonna pop up there, then I'm like maybe it's gonna be her last time in cameo form, which was kind of sad. Um, yeah. So I want to bring that up. That was funny. Okay. What else? Oh, excuse me. Another one was the Flash referencing the Snyder Cut, how Barry Irish met. So they brought that up. So when Barry is talking to Iris and they're on the briefly discussing, like a kind of catch up. So that was there. So so you got a little bit of your Zack Snyder Justice League reference. The prison that goes to is the Iron Heights Penitentiary, which is famous in the Flash universe, which is also in the CW show. Uh, we got the Speed Force. So we got that. I'm kind of curious. Did they ever delve into Speed Force in the Justice League cut, the Snyder cut?
Not that I recalled. I haven't seen the film in a while. I don't remember them, addressing that.
Okay. Okay. So.
I think it was more to show, what Zack Snyder envisioned for Justice League, uh,
Mm,
2 and 3, and it had much of like, the same plans from the like, the Justice version, but it was just, the scene. It was just like more storylines that we didn't see. It was just more storylines that Snyder had intended, but I don't really think it really talked about the Speed Force that much.
mhm.
Besides the mother boxes and glimpses of like visions, it was showing them. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Um, we also got a little brief cameo of Henry Cavill, Superman, but that was like at the back of his back of the head. So that was funny when we got the little footage in the beginning. Apparently, Barry department store basically is like there's a store named Grayson. So a little nod to the Nightwing character.
Uh,
Uh,
Robin, Dick Grayson.
yeah. This store that Barry lives like in his apartment, like say Grayson. So that was a little like nod to Nightwing, the first Robin, Dick Grayson. Um, another big one was the alternate Barry's room had like feature of Warner Bros. Films posters. So like if you see again or see in the Max, like he has a couple of film posters that are from Warner Brothers, like the Will Smith film I Am Legend, Christopher Nolan's Inception, and then Pacific Rim from Guillermo del Toro. And then it was funny. The small Barry had like a Scooby Doo shirt wearing in the beginning, and that was a kind of cool like subtle nod because that's what James Gunn wrote first in his Hollywood career. So and the sequel, so that's kind of funny. We got the cameo of the Aquaman father from Tom Kerry back in this film, so that was funny. But okay. Oh, that was a okay. So now I'm looking at my notes. The other one was a more retcon that they did was that Barry was in the Man of Steel. Like we got a clip where we got a flashback where he had like a prototype suit and he saved one kid, but he couldn't save the dad. What do you thought about that flashback? Like, do you like it? I mean, I thought it was interesting, but I thought they were going to do something. Uh,
Yeah, that was cool to see. It's like, oh wow, he was there when General Zod was invading Earth, and it was just, I think it just showed you how in his early times when he had his powers, he was working to develop them, and I think it was just trying to show his growth and the guilt that he's carried that he couldn't do more on
yeah,
that day.
yeah, I agree. I agree, but I felt like it was a weird thing to do because we didn't pay it off very meaningful. I thought maybe the Barry two or maybe the first Barry will do something to like save the kid again in this alternate timeline. But we only got like a quick shot of the dad and the the kid seeing the terraforming thing to starting the terraforming. So like we didn't pay that off meaningfully. So I thought it was kind of weird that we did that if we're not gonna pay off in a very meaningful way, as a story, Uh, so so okay, so what else we got here? Oh, what do you thought about the Back in the Future jokes that they did here? The having sentimental J Fox playing the character. It was played by Eric Stoltz, and then apparently Michael J. Fox played the lead in Footloose, and then Kim Bacon was the actor that played Maverick in Top Gun. What do you thought about the
Yeah, I thought that was funny, and I thought I liked how they had those nods to those films, and to relate to the subject of this film, addressing like time travel and the multiverse and how time works. So it was nice to have those kinds of references and callbacks.
Yeah, that's true. The Daily Elfman score from Batman and Batman Returns came back. There was, I think, that the score from Benjamin Fisher did a good job for the score here. I wish he had more memorable score for Flash and some of the other characters, but the Elfman score for Batman is still great. The other deep cut Easter egg was the Joker's laughing gag that Barry hold and that was making that laughing noise. That was directly from the finale from '89 Batman film from the Jack Nicholson version. Uh, okay, so and then brought up the Flashpoint reference stuff, like of course Keaton is playing more of the Thomas Wayne version, and then so there's thinking of the Superman version. I Barry trying to regain his powers similar to that. And that was really cool, and that was very good. Um, okay, and then what else? That was funny. Uh, oh, the director for this Flash made a cameo. He's the one that was trying to eat the hot dog in the end, and then Barry took it. That was the director. And then okay, and then we get into the big Easter egg. I think a big George Clooney. What was your reaction seeing George Clooney? Was it a shock? Was it like very funny? Like
Yeah, I was shocked to see that. That was a little bit of a nice surprise. I mean, I don't see
yeah,
what it will have to do with, the future of the DCU. So it's not like he's going to play Batman, because James Gunn made it pretty clear that a younger actor would play Batman. But
yeah,
I don't see what else it does in anything for a story. But that was a nice little surprise.
yeah. It was just a joke. I thought that was very funny. I love we got our first F bomb for this film. So that was funny that well, like when Barry say, pardon my French here, when he say like, "Who the fuck was that?" That was funny. That was probably the best F bombs that they dropped. But yeah, like it was very funny. But it was weird too if you think about it. So this was definitely a major reshoot they did because originally they definitely had Keaton and Sasha like appearing in the court where Barry was at and like confirmed that he was in a new universe and like Keaton and Sasha was now the new versions of Superman and Batman in this universe. I don't know why did he like stick with that ending instead of this weird ending that doesn't help you move forward in the universe, right? But I don't know. What do you think? It's
Yeah, I
just
don't know why that was cut out of the film, because Supergirl and Michael Keaton's Batman were key characters and key crucial role players in this film. So I don't know why they didn't keep that scene.
yeah, or like
They already filmed it.
yeah. So it was just weird that they did that. So um, yeah. So those are the Easter eggs. So to like wrap things up, I mean, um, I were you surprised that this movie underperformed? Can you give me like what was your what's your thinking of like why this film didn't do well this week? Like, do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't think a lot of people were too crazy on seeing it because of, like, the controversy surrounding Ezra Miller, and the allegations against him are pretty serious, and unfortunately he did have trouble with the
The
law,
law.
and with the reputation and the habit Warner Brothers had of just not making good good product, and with key and Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck not playing key character, not playing Batman and Superman anymore, and were uncertain with Wonder Woman, uh, and had some uncertainty with Aquaman. It's just the DCEU was just, and then what really messed things up was from Joss Whedon's Justice League.
Yeah,
That film was just horrible. So I think with all those things, I just think not many fans were too keen on seeing it. So I don't think it was because the film was bad. It wasn't bad. It was a good film. I just think that you know at this point, the DCEU is over,
yeah,
and so the Flash is going to reset everything. And I think fans are just impatient at this point, and I am too.
yeah,
But I hope James Gunn does well.
yeah. So I agreed. I mean the Ezra Miller thing is big contention, and it's very true. I mean the accusations are very serious. Um, I I mean the big culprit for me is Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is the big fault here. I mean, like you can't even blame one person. Like it's not even Savas or Savvy or whatever the CEO is for Discovery, like David Safa. That's what his name. Like you can't even blame him because this was from two other division, two other previously Warner Brothers heads up that they started this film and they left. So like this was from an old regime that they're no longer in this company, and like they like the fact that they're defending Ezra and like in a weird way, like because they like defending Ezra where he had a very serious accusation where like something like Johnny Depp, who was innocent from the Amber Heard thing, and they fire him from a franchise. So it doesn't make sense what Warner is doing with their trust of actors. And and more to that, like they've broken their promises. I mean, you can say whatever you want about the MCU, but the MCU has kept their promise about the lineup and films that they produce, that they will come out, and Warner's have constantly broke their promise and this strategy that they say they will do, but then they don't do it, and then it doesn't come to fruition. Like from 2014, half the films they announced from 2014 barely got made. Like few got made, but then others took longer, like The Flash did. But then others didn't develop into a film. They just instead went to development hell as usual with those kind of things. That if they're not going to get traction in the studio. Another one is like just the superhero boutique thing. I think this superhero bad quality boutique is kicking in. If you don't make a good quality film, like I mean, this film is good, but this thing, it's very like mediocre type of film. It's not the greatest film. It's not Guardians or Spider-Verse. So you got another average superhero film that's like in par, like what, like Ant-Man first film and like Aquaman a little bit, and that's not enough for the people to see it. So like you need to step up the quality of these superhero films. Like this is the third one out of the live action films that DOA like bombed. Like Shazam bombed, Ant-Man 3 did bomb. I mean, it didn't cross any of his first two installments of the Ant-Man franchise. So like I think studios, both DC and Marvel, needs to pump the brakes and get this quality control in check. Like we need to start getting more quality superhero films and not get these like lackluster ones. And then another one was The Crowded. Like I get you want to put it in the summer release, but I think they should maybe push it in July or something like that, a different date. Like they should know that like it's coming out 2 weeks after another multiverse film, Spider-Verse, that is doing so well over the 3 weeks that's been open. And then you got Transformers, right? Beast that opened the second week of June and is doing well. So I don't get whether one of us put the release date because right now I think there's becoming an issue with the premium screens. Like studios are fighting for the screens, like how much this big temples need to develop. Like we're seeing that with Tom Cruise is trying to fight Universal to like discussing the exhibitors to give up the premium screens for the Dead Reckoning film over the Oppenheimer film. So like I it's right now it's kind of ridiculous. So what else? I think my other one is that it's a very I mentioned before like a very poor this is probably the less multiverse film that I've seen. Despite I don't like the way that Doctor Strange 2 does multiverse or what No Way Home does it, but like those two films did a very good job of successfully doing multiple things and like they made money. Here you got Keaton and then Supergirl, that's it. Like if they lean very onto the Snyderverse, like having Aquaman here, like having Superman here in the film completely, like Henry Cavill, I think couldn't boost their ticket sales because that's another thing about the scheduling here of this film. Like they like put it on the week when Man of Steel had its 10th anniversary on June 14th. So like Warner's just were so stupid, firing Henry Cavill and not putting him in this film. Like
Yeah, they never even had a deal in place for him to return as Superman, and they hired James Gunn 6 months before he had filmed his scene with Black Adam. But they made it look like Henry Cavill was coming back, knowing that they weren't going to let him come back. Those,
Yeah, and then what it doesn't make sense, like Superman can't reveal for the Flash movie because like Superman is your top tier character. I get you using Batman, but Superman is the first superhero in like culture history, and he's your major superhero character people love, and he's the first that started this universe. So it doesn't make sense why they didn't put him in Bill. Like it's weird that we put him in Black Adam, and just for a unpromised thing about him versus Black Adam. Like I don't get what Warner Bros. Allowed that to do that. Like they should have kept Henry Cavill like agreed to do the Flash. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's really it. Is there anything else to say about the Flash? Like something we need to bring up? Oh, I did not like the post credit scene with Aquaman. I thought it was just too jokey. It doesn't give you what was going on with the feature of Aquaman. That's just my opinion. So I thought that was it's probably the worst post credit scene I've seen since what Morbius or something like that. So yeah.
I mean, I just liked seeing him in the cameo. It was kind of funny seeing him as as just a drunk. Um, but I will say one storyline that was interesting was where the Flash where he was in the world where there was no metahumans. I thought that was pretty interesting, but I felt like that should have been replaced with a war between Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and I think the film would have been more epic. But I
Yeah,
guess it's kind of bittersweet with this film.
yeah, I agree. I mean, they didn't even took the metahuman concept away. Like we still have metahumans with Flash and Supergirl. So I don't know. Like even that felt very flimsy at the end. Really, I don't know. It's just I yeah. So yeah, I still stand my 6.5 out of 10. Really, I'm less liking the film. I think it's better than the other misses of the DCEU films, but that's not saying much, really, for me. Despite how entertaining it was, but I just thought the third act really is very messy, and I just don't think this film really delivered as a multiverse film, really. So that's just my opinion. But,
Well, their performance in the box office right now with The Flash, I feel like that was inevitable with, considering it's just the consistent poor marketing, poor storytelling, and they rushed the characters and trying to compete with Marvel.
yeah,
And Justice League with Joss Whedon's version really messed them up. And then now with Henry Cavill not being Superman anymore, which was just so dumb.
yeah, yes. So I'm kind of glad that they're going to reboot this franchise and just start clean because it just makes sense right now. Because I mean, this franchise is gonna die because they're not making money, so that's not good. So, anything else to say, Chris, about this film, The Flash? I think we probably say our I think everything we were able to say in this film.
Yeah, I think we're ready to wrap up, and I love this discussion, and
Yeah,
I definitely had a lot to say. And
yeah,
there were some funny moments in the film, but I
yeah,
liked how I liked how the film was kept at a low, and the visuals were pretty good.
mm-hmm.
Besides,
Yeah,
some of the visuals were pretty good, but just the VFX effects. Yeah, some of it was cringe worthy, was very cringe. But when it came to the time traveling, the lighting was really good, and that was fine.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah. I think my favorite was when the first Barry lost his powers and like he was trying to do the super speed, but he walked slow, and it was funny. That really worked. Or the part where he was trying to face through the wall, but he instead just knocked himself out. That was funny. With the other Barry. So yeah, so those were my favorite funny scenes from the film. And then also seeing the other the alternate timeline friends of Patty and Albert in the apartment of just them being like what do you call it, like lazy people. So that was very funny. So but yeah. So Chris, thank you for joining me today. This was a fun podcast. This was a fun Monday. Great start to this week. So thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed this podcast discussing the Blackening and the Flash.
Yep.
I can't wait for July films. You know, we got Oppenheimer and Mission Impossible. So we definitely got some good movies lined up for July.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agreed. Yeah, got Barbie. If that's good, we'll probably see that. I, you know, if we're going to see Indiana Jones, I know that's coming out, but we'll see about that. What's coming out? Like we got Insidious, The Red Door coming out as well. The Haunted Mansion. I don't know if you're interested in that film. Um, so that's coming out. So that's kind of intriguing. So yeah, there's a couple of things that is coming out in July, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so thank you everyone for listening to the Andreas Pop Culture Talk, episode 5 or 6, whatever it is. This for the double podcast for movies, for the Black Knee and the Flash movie. So just please like that button, and of course thank Chris for joining as always. He's been an awesome host. I just love talking to him about movies and TV and slash trailer discussions. We'll be back very soon to have another spectacular podcast. Chris, have a good night.